Hey everybody and welcome to Chairman of the Board. Today I'm talking about Planet. Now Planet is a tile laying game for 2 to 4 players. It takes about half an hour or so to play. Now the idea of the game is you are basically placing tiles on this 3D planet. Those tiles have different kind of terrain on them, such as water or snow or sand or forest or mountains. And you are trying to fulfill criteria on cards in order to win those cards for points at the end of the game. Now, the flow of the game is that depending on the number of players, a number of tiles are drawn, and then you are taking one of those tiles in player order and placing them on your globe. Now, that globe is basically the gimmick of the game, or I'm kind of hesitant to call it a gimmick because it does play quite a crucial role in the actual uniqueness of the game, because normally with a tile laying game you have that kind of flat map. Think Carcassonne, you know, it's flat, it's almost like it's like a bit of paper, isn't it? Whereas in Planets, you are actually placing them on this magnetic ball where obviously the tiles wrap around, so you've got that extra dimension, that extra wrinkle in the game where you have to be a bit more tactical about where you're going to place them, because you know, if I place something here, that's going to affect what I'm going to do when I place something down here, and you know, you've got to link them together that way. So that is a very cool concept. It has a very tactile feel to it, as you're physically forming a globe, which is a really cool concept and something that's never been done before. So I do really like that aspect of it. Just the toy factor of it is you know, in its own league in a way. So the actual, you know, the mechanism of the game is extremely simple. It's a very entry-level game. It's a light game. You know, there's literally not any rules here to, you know, to overcome, or no overhead whatsoever. So as I said, you are trying to fulfill the criteria on these cards that develop throughout the game. So one might say, you know, in the second round, this card is going to score, and this card means that whoever's got the most sand terrain that is touching a snow terrain will get this card. And basically that's what people are trying to do, that you're planning ahead in order to win these cards by forming different patterns on your globe. And that is pretty much the extent of it, to be honest. It's obviously that planning on whether you're going to go for the early objectives or maybe neglect them to go for the later objectives. And yeah, that's basically how the game works. As I said, the game works in a very simple method in terms of you drafting your cards and your tiles in player order. And if you don't win one of those cards, or when the round comes to it, or when there's no decisive winner, then that card gets pushed back to the next round. So there's always that kind of struggle on who's going to get that card, and like almost kind of neck and neck, where someone's trying to break ahead just so they can snatch those cards before the other players do. But as I said, the way the player order works is a bit of a letdown for me. One of the only things that I can really say negative about the game, to be honest, because as I said, there's not much to it at all. But I would have liked to have seen something a bit more interesting in terms of who gets to pick tiles first, and based on maybe what they did in the prior rounds. Think King Domino or something like that, where you know, certain tiles have certain numbers, and maybe the numbers dictate on the order of the next turn, rather than just going in simple player order, because you can really get kind of shafted, or just by no fault of your own left with a tile that's no good to anybody, just based on the player order alone. So you've got no mitigation there, which is what I'm trying to say. It would be nice to have something that did give you an extra wrinkle to the game, just an extra tactical decision on what you're going to do now to help you going forward. But maybe I'm being a bit too critical. This game isn't really designed for someone like me, because you know, I'm not really a gateway gamer. You know, now I've played a lot of games and I like heavier games, but for a family, an introductory game for a family, this is certainly one to check out. I mean, it's so simple, it's so pure. I said that for kids, that toy factor of that physical globe is a real selling point, and you know, it's very pleasant. It's so simple in its just essence, really. The balance of the game seems very fair. You know, not only are you trying to, you know, get those cards, which are all pretty much the same in a way, you know, such as having, you know, the amount of, as I said, the amount of sand that touches snow, or the amount of woods that touches mountains. So they're all the same, just different colours. But, you know, everyone's going to kind of, I guess they're going to be kind of even in a way as the game ticks along. There's not a lot of really, you know, dictation over your own moves that the other players aren't going to be able to cotton on to themselves. But the game is so simple. It's so, you know, it's chilled out. It's quick. It ticks along so nicely. There's next to no downtime in it. And so, yeah, in that respect, I can't be too harsh on it, because it does what it does very well. Replayability wise, probably not a lot of mileage in it for me because, as I said, the game is pretty much going to be the same every time. But I said I like the gimmick. The component quality is excellent in it. Those globes work really well. They just do what they need to do. The tiles are nice and thick. They're pretty clear. For color blindness, they are marked so you can tell which one's which. And yeah, I think the idea of trying to make this planet in order to to be an appropriate habitat for these different animals to put onto your, which are going to be the cards that you win. It's just a nice concept, and I can see a lot of people enjoying it. I think the game's done pretty well. It's a 2018 release, and I think it was one of the standout ones of the year, to be honest, in terms of its popularity. So in that aspect, they've done well. But yeah, it's a simple concept. It's a tile laying game. Maybe I probably wouldn't recommend it over something like Carcassonne, but if you want that extra wrinkle in terms of its 3D nature, then this is one to check out. So if that appeals to you, give it a go. So yeah, it's a decent game. It gets a decent rating from me, which is about a 6.5 out of 10, and I think that's fair for something like this. But yeah, go check it out if it sounds like it will be good to you. If you have enjoyed the review, please hit like and subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos too. For everyone else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye.